What is going on, guys? It's Kevin here with ModMyMods, and it is a lovely Tuesday afternoon. It's actually a little cold out, but, you know, nevertheless, we are here, and thanks for joining us on the ModMyMods news update. Today, what we're going to do is actually do a quick flight from JFK, International Airport, from New York City all over to Boston quickly. During the flight, what we'll do is we'll actually have a little bit of a Q&A type of thing. So basically, I'm going to leave the floor open to you guys, the lovely viewers, the people that matter most. And if you guys want to talk about something, or you want to ask me some questions about this, that, and the other, I'd be more than happy to oblige and see what I can do to at least get you an answer. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I don't know what's going on, I'll tell you. I'll tell you straight up that, yeah, I ain't got a clue. So, without further ado, let's hop right into this lovely airplane. Today, we will be flying the, this is the A320neo. The particular model livery that we got today is the United. Luckily, no doctors will be dragged off of this flight today. However, we have to hop in here and get going in order to start up the airplane and get everything squared away. Again, this is JFK, so anyone that is familiar with New York City knows that JFK and LaGuardia are the two busiest airports in the New York State. And so what we'll do is we'll do our damnedest to make this happen and make it a nice, easy departure here. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and turn on the external power just to get everything going. Turn on the two batteries. We'll get the APU bleed going, the APU generator on. Turn on the start switch, the master APU switch, and the start switch. And, let's see here. Okay, we got to turn that on. And now that that's going, we can then go ahead and turn off the external power, which, if you listen closely, you can actually hear the turbine of the APU starting to turn on. So we'll go ahead and turn on the lights here that we're going to need in order to take off, which typically is all of them. And now that we have that, we're going to actually go up here and pull down the, where the heck is it, ATC, and contact ground. And we'll get IFR. Whoa, no. Why is it saying just the test? No, that's not true. I'm just kidding. It's not just the test. I promise. This is actually a real thing. All right, so we'll request IFR clearance here. So, while we're go ahead and getting IFR clearance, I am doing actually really well, Mr. Andre. 03064. Turn that on. Okay. And we're going to set this to 8,000. All right. Things are going good, Andre. We're working on a bunch of different projects, getting a whole bunch of different things going. But things are good. Things are actually really good. Thanks for asking, my friend. I appreciate that very, very much. Okay, now that we have that going, we can put those into start. Let's take a look on the outside of the plane. Do I need to back it up? I do not need to back it up. However, these folks that are in the way here need to get the hell out of the way, otherwise I'm going to run them over. But I guess that's just how it goes, right? All right, so let's go ahead and fire up these two bad boys. Get this. Oh, wait. Yeah, right. Just kidding. Just kidding. Before I do any of that, you got to make sure that the oil and the hydraulic pumps are running. Those are now all on. Okay, great. We can now go ahead and start both engines. I miss you too, buddy. You know, one of the things that we were actually just talking about, which we'll talk about during the flight here, they did just announce some, what did they announce? They announced dates for the various shows that are coming up here. The one thing that they did announce that I did notice is that they made announcements for Computex, and they also made announcements for PAX East, which I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, because considering nobody really knows what the hell's going on when it comes to this whole health situation, this health crisis that's going on right now, nobody really has good answers for it. So theoretically, we could be going to PAX East. We could be going to Computex. We could be going to both. Who knows? To be honest, it's going to be a waiting game. We're going to have to wait and see and basically hold out just for a little bit until we actually have some answers from everybody. So, all right, the PSI is now normal for both of the engines. I can put this back into normal. I can go up here, make sure that the generator is on for both 1 and 2. I can now shut off the APU. Turn off the APU generator. Boom, because now we have both of the other turbines moving and creating the electricity that the plane is going to need. And let's go ahead and request clearance to go taxi to where the heck we actually need to go. All right. Okay. All right, sounds like a plan. We're gonna go do that.
Taxiing hold, short runway, tree 1 right via taxiway Lima Alpha Alpha Hotel Bravo Bravo Hotel cross runway 4 left Hotel Yankee Yankee Alpha WRJG 9er 1 tree.
So it says that we should be backing up through this wall here, this barricade wall, and then going out on this little runway. We're not gonna do that. We're actually gonna get to taxi, forward here and follow the lines out that way. So let's go ahead and do that. Disengage parking brake here. And let's get on taxiing on out of here, shall we? I think we shall. All right. So hopefully everybody else is having a wonderful day. Today is, it's actually been pretty cold here in New York. Well, it's actually been pretty normal here in New York. I think the high was like 36 today, which isn't bad. That's not bad at all. I want it to be colder because, well, I'm a freak, I think. I like to go do the whole snowboard thing, which is a lot of fun. However, some of us aren't as thrilled about the cold. Joe. Joe. But things are going well. I hope everybody else is doing okay. And like I said, this is going to be more like a Q&A type of thing. I have the browser pulled up, so if you guys want to, talk about certain products or talk about certain things that you saw on the internet and whatnot, we can still do some research. We can definitely do that. But today we're going to kind of leave it open. I come to Colorado. You know what's funny about that, Mr. Andre 3000? Brony and I are actually highly considering it. I guess we might actually go out to Aspen. I've never been out west to snowboard myself. I have been all over the East Coast to snowboard, which I love East Coast snowboarding. But I know that the West Coast has a heck of a lot more, well, I guess you could say they're a lot bigger. Let's put it that way. Some of the mountains and stuff that are out west are just monstrous. So we're kind of excited for that. Still trying to plan out the details, obviously, with the whole health thing that's going on and all that goodness. It's kind of difficult to plan anything. But tentatively, we're hoping maybe by February we might be able to go out there, at least for like a couple days, if not a week or so, and see what we can do. Yeah, man, that would be great. Colorado is actually a beautiful state. I've been through there a few different times, but it is a beautiful place to be. That's for sure. All right, now we have just crossed the runway. I think that was 22 that we ended up just crossing there. We are gonna just apply the brakes slightly and make this turn. Heading on down, making my way down to, I guess, runway 13, which doesn't make sense because we're taking, because 13 is backwards of 31. Okay, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. So yeah, we're gonna be heading down to runway 13 right in order to taxi, or in order to take off here. As I'm going through and as we're slowly taxiing on the way over here, I'm making sure that I got everything squared away. Our flaps are on 2, which technically you can have them on 1. I like to take off on 2 and then, adjust them as we get up in the air. I didn't actually check the flight plan. I probably should. Yeah. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good. And then to Boston. Okay, yeah, that looks all good. So the flight plan looks good. We have our lights are on. The generator is on, working the way that it showed. Both engines are in run mode, which is what they should be. Well, looks like we're going to be taking off. A little bit of wind, about 16 knots of wind coming out of 340, which is ideal, especially when we're taking off of runway 31. You always want to be taking off into the wind. That way you have the most resistance. And that way you can also anticipate how the plane is going to react versus if the wind is behind you. Okay, so now that I'm here, I'm parked at the corner of the runway here, which is 31 right. I don't see... Again, this is one of the busiest airports, so it's kind of funny that you have... There's 1, 2, 3... Jesus, there's 3 planes over there. There's 2 planes over here. It looks like there's one that's coming in. And then you got 2 that are over there that are parked. That's kind of fun. All right, so let's contact the tower here and let them know that we are ready to get the hell out of here, because nobody likes New York City. Not Nancy. Captain, thanks for joining us, my friend. We appreciate it. All right, clear for takeoff. Runway 31 right. Sounds good. All right. The weather is too cold for me. I woke up and it was 50 degrees Fahrenheit this morning, Miami, all bundled up. Well, let me tell you, I understand, especially you Floridians. 50 degrees is like borderline chaos for you guys down there, you know? It's like, it's just too cold. And I don't blame you. I don't blame you. If you're not used to the cold and maybe you don't have a beard like I do, it might be a little bit challenging. I get it. I get it. Okay, we are now lined up on runway 31 right. It looks like we are going to slowly take off and basically make an immediate right turn headed towards Boston here. Let's zoom out just a little bit. We'll put it on the constraints here. Looks good, looks good. We'll put this one on that and that one on VOR, and flight director can go on, and we can leave that. And you know what? Let's rip the paint right off this guy, shall we? Okay, turn off the auto throttle because ain't nobody got time for that. And let's get out of here, shall we? Whoa, that wind. You ain't kidding. There's a little bit of wind. Okay, that's about 120 knots. That's V1. We can go ahead and rotate. Ooh, come on now. There we go. All right, and gear up. All right, let's go flaps 1. And we are now leaving the good old New York City. As you can see directly in front of us, that is the skyline there. Flaps to 0. Handoff there. We are out of here. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and put on the autopilot now. Now that we're relatively out of the way. Where the hell are you going, autopilot? Why are you doing that? No. We're supposed to be making a right-hand turn towards... That's weird. I don't know why the autopilot was doing that. That was kind of funky. Woo, it is windy up here, isn't it? A little bit. Oh, autopilot was still on, that's why. Part of it. Alright, so pop outside the plane. There it is, the good old New York City. If you've been there, it's a fun place to visit. However, if you don't live there, you pretty much hate it. just like we do. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, you're from New York? Oh my God, how's the city?" And we're like, "No, we don't like the city. The city's good for bagels, and that's about it." To be perfectly honest with you. So there we are. Now we can slowly start to level this guy out here. That below us there is LaGuardia. That's LaGuardia Airport. Obviously smack dab right in the middle of everything. That's actually what LGA is on the radar down there below us. So as we continue climbing, which we are going a lot faster than theoretically you're supposed to. You're not actually supposed to be going above. You're not supposed to exceed 250 knots when you're below 10,000. But to be perfectly honest with you, yeah, I don't really care. Yeah, we're going to make this a quick fight. 10,000 feet for WRJG 913.
Climb and maintain 10,000 feet WRJG 913.
Alright, and... Alright, 121.125 for WRJG 913.
121.125 for WRJG 913.
Alright, let's turn the flight director back on, turn on autopilot 1. Whoa, what is that all about? Oh, because it's still on 8,000. Ha! Just kidding. Just kidding. I meant 10,000 feet, so you should be good now. We can go ahead and slowly pull back on the throttle here. Flight director should put us right where we need to be. We'll turn off the SEC, which is the thing that basically makes the whole plane bounce all over the place. But as you see here, it doesn't look like the flight director is working very well. So I guess we'll just do it by heading today. Which is fine. We can do it by heading, that's okay. That way. Nope, no. Engage heading mode. Come on now. Work for me here. You're making me look bad. Come on. Engaged. Engage selected heading mode. That's what I want. What seems to be the problem here, guys? Gals? What the hell's going on? Am I gonna have to fly the plane myself today? Which again is fine. I have no problem with that, but it's a little bit more difficult. Because I can't just sit here and shoot the shit with you guys, because, well, I gotta fly the plane now. But hey, whatever, what are you gonna do? So, again, if you guys have any sort of questions about water cooling or anything along those lines, general questions, whatever kind of questions, doesn't matter to me. I would be happy to answer them to my best ability as I can. Alright, stop it. Why are you doing that? There we go. Okay. Now I got the overspeed detection because I'm flying too low now. Yes, acknowledge the handoff. Yeah. We're gonna be.
New York departure WRJG 913 is climbing through 8,700 feet for 10,000 feet.
Interesting. It's really weird that it didn't want to do that. Interesting. Okay, as we get up here, we'll go ahead and turn this back on so I can actually see what the hell we're doing, where we're going here. There we go.
WRJG 913 contact Boston Center on 132.3.
Alright.
132.3 WRJG 913.
That's so weird. Flight director's like not working at all in any way, shape, or form. and give me all sorts of really weird reactions for some odd reason. But whatever, who cares? We're now up there. We're at the correct height we need to be. All right, so let's see. Have you ever considered making custom distros? So yes and no. 128.1. Okay. Man, this autopilot's just fighting me throughout this whole thing today, aren't you? Okay, fine. We'll just turn you right off, and I'll fly it my damn self. So have we thought about actually doing our own distro plates? Yes, we have. The problem is that everybody and their mom is pretty much making custom distro plates. So for us to make them and then to sell them is kind of a larger task than it would be just for, for example, you got, who is it? Savant PCs. He makes a whole bunch, which he's a great guy. Liquid House makes a few. Let's see. Killer Mods, I know, makes a few. I don't remember if Alex makes some custom for people, but I know that he makes some. It was kind of more along the lines of we didn't necessarily want to dip into that unless there was a real big request for it, a real big push for it. And the reason being is because there's a lot of resources that are required in order to do that. Mostly because we have our CNC machine tied up to do all of the panel mods and stuff like that. So our panels are pretty much what kind of got us into doing all the customization when it comes to doing the different patterns and designs and stuff like that. Is that something that we're going to work on eventually? Yes. But currently we're mostly working on a new system for our back end to get that going more smoothly than it is now, and to hopefully be able to branch out and give you guys more selections of different brands and all sorts of other things as well. Hopefully with the new back end and everything like that, we'll be able to provide you with, again, more. That's what it is. I mean, not everybody wants the Alpha Cool stuff or the Water Cool stuff, and, wouldn't it be great if we could just offer you a little bit more? So that's what we're working on now, but the custom distros we're just kind of holding off on just for the time being. So, what got me specifically into modding and building, Andre? I would say that it was kind of, it's kind of in my nature, to be honest with you, because I never really took things as they were. I always wanted to tinker with them, to screw with them, to make them better, or honestly make them worse. That happens too. But it kind of started, at least for me, it started with computers. There was a place that was local that did some stuff, and I thought it was pretty cool that you could, cut a giant window in the side of a case and put some acrylic in it and make it look really nice. I mean, this is back in the cold cathode days, where it was, you'd got, your two cold cathodes and a little bit of UV stuff, and you had like the split leaf wiring covers and stuff like that would actually have, UV properties to them. So if you stuck two of the UV cold cathode kits inside your PC, man, you were freaking cool. Back when like Danger Den was really big and that type of stuff. I then, once I was old enough, I was into biking, was into skating and snowboarding and stuff like that, and I wasn't satisfied with just having a BMX bike. So when Kink Bikes was actually starting to even evolve or become what they are now, which is, they're a local New York company, if you didn't know. Kink Bikes, I used to ride at a skate park that a lot of the big head honchos you would actually go to, which was kind of funny. And one of the things that really got me into the modifying of computers was that I was always, tricking out my bike a little bit more. So I had the Jim Selinsky Odyssey pedals. I had Odyssey Hazard Light wheels, the chrome ones with the I redid all my spokes and the nipples and stuff like that, and redid all of that so it was like color coded and matched and looked really cool. So it was kind of like for me, it was more natural to just actually get into computer modding because, well, I had already been screwing around and tinkering with other stuff, so why not tinker around with computer as well? But once I got into cars, that's when things really started to kind of take off for me with the whole computer stuff because, well, I never really had a stock car ever. I always did something to it. I mean, I had a Dodge Shadow that we figured out because most of the Dodges back then, which I'm a huge fan of old 80s Dodges, all of the 80s Dodges you were able to swap parts. So certain parts that came on, say, a minivan would actually swap over to a Dodge Shadow or a Dodge or Chrysler LeBaron or anything like that. So we, my good friend Derek and I, my best friend Derek, he and I basically swapped over the springs and the shocks from a Dodge Caravan and the intermediate shafts and axles from a Dodge Caravan, which had the split axles. It had an intermediate shaft and a split axle to support the actual lift. So it gave it a 6.5-inch lift kit on a Dodge Shadow, which was kind of fun. So we put 32-inch mud swampers on it, and because I was cheap and, in school, high school, pretty much, I drilled rally lights directly into the roof and, not really thinking about any of the water that could come in or anything like that. And, we wired it up with a house switch with, random gauge wire that we had laying around and whatnot. So it was fun. You always, you learn from your mistakes, right? That's kind of what modding and doing PC customization and stuff is like. You're always learning and always pushing the envelope to expand your capabilities. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much what got me into doing this type of stuff. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't exactly consider myself like a huge modder. I'm not trying to do 3D models or 3D, printed stuff in order to make it happen or anything like that. I don't think I have those capabilities. However, I do have the capabilities to make wire look really, really good. And I used to do single sleeve and all the different types of sleeving. So that was one of the major things that I did and I take pride in doing, is making sure my cables are perfect. Something I'm super anal about. So, who's pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077? Raise your hand. Who has it installed already? Raise their hand. Who bought new components to make sure that Cyberpunk would play at, say, 2K or 3K at 160 frames a second? Yeah, that was me. So I'm super excited for it. Hopefully Project Red doesn't suck and, really screw things up. I think that this is going to turn out to be an incredible game, especially, it kind of brings me back to Fallout days, where the Fallout franchise, especially the first couple games, were just incredible. And I'm really hoping that it works. Tell Corey to get back to work. Well, you know what? I bet you Corey is probably working. He's one of the best workers that we have here at the shop. Between him, Brony, and Joe, and Josh, and myself, I mean, we hold down the fort, per se, right? Yeah, I miss Fallout 2. It's so bad Bethesda really screwed the pooch when they decided to come out with 76. Fallout 76 was such a tragedy. It's like the worst thing I think I've ever played. It was bad. It was really bad. But, whatever. He's a longtime friend of mine since middle school. Tell him I said hi next time you see him. I definitely will. He and I actually got to work on some stuff after the stream here, so I will definitely let him know. All right, let's see if I can get the flight director to work now. Let's see. Oh, that's a hard no. That's a hard no. That's a hard nope. Doesn't. Yeah, that's a hard no. Okay, well, all right. It was a thought. It sounded like a good idea. But no, we're gonna no. How come? Yeah, the autopilot is just not working. Not working today. Yeah, I know. I was way too high. Typically, that's what happens. I'm flying above where I'm supposed to be. All right, there we go. I mean, we're just going to fly it. We're going to fly it like it normally should be, you know? Again, I'm not really sure why the flight director decides that it wants to be a pile of garbage today, but, you know, sometimes you just got to fly by the edge of your seat. Did you get it? That's a good joke? No, it's a pretty shitty joke, but whatever. So here we are. Getting dark out, because that's what happens in the wintertime. It just gets dark. Ooh, that's a pretty sky, though. Isn't that pretty? Huh, very nice. But there we go. We are in here. Flying right over CRW, and then we got to fly over Jewett. And actually, we can just turn off this. What? Why? Fine. I'm not abiding by your speed limit there, sir. Not happening. But I will climb and maintain 1,100 or 11,000 feet. Sure, fine, whatever. Fine. Be that way. All right, let's see if we could do. We'll do autopilot. No, seriously, every time it wants to do the flight director, which the flight director is wrong. It's broken, clearly. Whatever. Whatever. You know? So again, if you guys have any questions, again, this is going to be like a Q&A. If you have thoughts, concerns, complaints, suggestions, those are always welcome here at ModMyMods. And again, you know, I'm trying to hopefully be able to answer some of your, maybe if you have a fear of water cooling and why you should or why you shouldn't, you know, we can talk about that, or we can talk about the stock limitations on graphics cards, because, well, pretty much nobody has any sort of stock right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon, or whatever. You know, I leave it to you, the viewers, you, the people. We've been watching a lot of Christmas movies here at the shop because, well, you need something to do while you're packing orders and getting everything done, right? So we've been watching a lot of Christmas movies. So what are some of your favorite Christmas movies? Because I'll ask you what yours are first, and then I'll tell you what we've watched so far. All right. Just slow down just a little bit. Slow down just a little bit. How close are we to this place anyways? Oh, we're relatively close. We are pretty close. Alright, I guess I'll start to level off here, which will ultimately decrease the speed. We'll bank over here to the right just a slight tiny bit. Now, all of these adjustments that I'm making while I'm flying are actually being used. I have a SATEC. It's an X45. This is a very old school flight control set. But because there's no real need to be using the stick all over the place, I'm using actually the altimeter to keep the altitude where it is. But because we have a wind behind us at 18 knots and it's kind of coming out of the back left corner of the plane here, it's kind of throwing me all over the place. But I'm trying to keep it afloat. Not Nancy, which is more likely to leak, hard or soft tubing connections? It kind of depends, but to be perfectly honest with you, hard tube connections usually leak a lot easier than soft tube. Just because the soft tube fittings usually have like a barb that goes through the inside of it. So you have a barb that goes through it, the tubing goes over it, and then there's another connection that goes over that to actually tighten it down, the actual compression part of it. I've run compression fittings with no collar on it whatsoever, and it has yet to leak. You know, there's certain times where you're testing stuff out and you want to make sure that it actually works, and I've done that before. It definitely doesn't leak. Now, if you do that with a hard tube fitting, that's just going to spray water all over the place. So I highly, highly recommend you put the collars on and everything like that. But that being said, yeah, typically hard tube fittings, because like it's kind of difficult sometimes to get the tubing itself to be flush or flush enough or straight enough of a cut. And on top of that, then you also have the chamfer. That you have on the inside and the outside of the tube. So you kind of want to make the edge of the tube a little bit softer to go into the fitting so you're not cutting up your O-rings. But those typically, you know, when you start to smooth out the edges and stuff like that, you will probably get, you know, well, the whole point is to not get rips. But that does happen. It does happen. Okay, cleared to Ben.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway tree left approach via bend transition cleared to bend WRJG9er 1 tree.
WRJG9er 1 tree contact Boston approach on 127.2.
Boston approach 127.2 for WRJG9er 13. I guess I should talk to the folks that are aboard this flight, huh? Shouldn't I? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Quick little flight from Kennedy Airport. We're hoping that you got everything aboard and stowed properly, because we're going to be coming in for a landing here shortly. So if you would please return your seats to the upright position and stow your tray tables in the upright and locked position. Put away all electronic devices and turn them off. That way I don't get any feedback inside of my headphones while we're coming in for a landing. That would be bad, considering I'm flying the damn plane. You aren't. You're sitting in the back. So, hopefully you guys had a wonderful and lovely flight upon United Airlines here. We hope that you guys have a lovely visit in Boston. We don't know why you would, because Boston, well, is full of a bunch of assholes. Anyways, we hope that you have a pleasant trip, and we hope to see you aboard another United Airlines flight. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be landing here shortly. So, again, have yourself a safe little venture down there, and enjoy your beverages while you still can. The flight attendants are going to be walking around picking up all the garbage that you guys have created, because, well, you're probably messy. And we'll be on the ground shortly. Thanks again.
Boston Center
The no-nonsense captain.
WRJG9er 1 tree Boston Center continue to bend as planned. Altimeter
29.68. All right, here we go. Descend and maintain 4,000. Here we go.
WRJG9er 1 tree contact Boston approach on 127.2.
127.2 for WRJG9er 13.
Going to 127.2 WRJG9er 13.
I've been highly considering actually doing some of the VATSIM stuff, which is the virtual airline simulator, which basically you join an actual server that has real live ATC. So when you actually talk to Boston Approach, it's actually a dude sitting there watching you come in and directing you where you actually need to go, which I thought would be super awesome. Now, obviously, they're not just going to throw you into a A320 Neo like this. You have to work your way up. But I thought it would be kind of neat to actually do one of the live flights where you have to actually talk to people. Like, you have to do transmit and, using your call sign and your lettering and all of that type of stuff. I thought that would be pretty neat.
WRJG9R1 tree Boston approach continue to bin as planned. Altimeter 29.68.
Alright, altimeter 2968, which is fine. That's what I have it set as, which is great. We're now going to go up here and we're going to turn on all the lights. Oops. There we go. Oh gosh. Turn on this one, turn on the wing light. Okay, those are all on now. Good to go. Alright, we are slowly making our way down here. I am going to turn on the ILS approach here. Perfect. Looks like we're relatively... Why are we going down so bad? There we go. I don't have the air brakes on, do I? Nope, I don't. Interesting. Yeah, I see that. I don't know why it went down so low. Sorry. Yeah, that's a big 10-4.
Climb and maintain 4,000 feet WRJG9R1 tree.
So in VATSIM, if you drop like that and dip way down 1,000 below, which is typically okay, but if you start really falling down on your altimeter and your altitude and stuff like that, you can actually get docked points for flying too low or not abiding by the rules and stuff like that. It's kind of neat, to be honest with you. I thought it would be fun. I thought it would be fun to do. Maybe I'm just kind of crazy. That's also possible. All right, we are slowly going to be making our turn here, headed towards the Ben waypoint. And I am flying this plane just by the seat of my pants here. I'm actually flying it full manual stick. So I'm having actually a tough time. I'm not entirely sure why. Well, perfect. I'm at 3,000 feet. Isn't that wonderful?
Descent and maintain 3,000 feet WRJG9R1 tree.
Isn't that wonderful? There's Boston down there, where PAX East is every year. Which again, PAX East and Computex have announced that they're going to try and have dates for everybody here. Supposedly, PAX East is the 3rd through the 6th, and Computex is supposed to be, I think, the 1st through the 4th or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually end up making that happen or not. I know Taiwan for Computex, pretty much the rumor has been that if you don't have the vaccine, they won't let you in. Right now, they're on complete lockdown. They won't let any foreigner pretty much enter the country, which is, relatively smart, to be honest with you. However, as you're slowly making time towards the event, that might change. It also might change due to, what the actual how the vaccine ends up getting distributed and stuff like that. But so far, that is what we've heard. I would imagine PAX, I have no idea what the actual regulations are for it just yet. I would imagine if they are going to do it, it's either going to be a limited number of people that can be there at a certain time, or I honestly have no idea how they're going to be doing it. So But we'll see. We'll see. All right, so we're getting pretty close to runway. Ooh, apparently I'm falling way down for some reason. Man, this plane just doesn't want to fly for me today. They had another update for it, which again isn't always good when they have updates for these for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Sometimes it really borks a lot of different things. So as you can tell, I'm kind of struggling to get this thing to stay flying correctly. And they also changed the controls on where, like, how to raise and lower the seat for the person that's actually flying the plane. Because again, I don't know what midget is flying this thing, but all right. Oh, I'm inbound. Don't you worry.
Tower on 132.225 WRJG9er 1 tree.
Okay.
Boston Tower WRJG9er 1 tree 11 miles southeast inbound ILS runway tree left approach.
WRJG9er 1 tree Boston Tower. Cleared ILS runway tree left approach. Altimeter 29.
Wonder if I turn on approach and hit autopilot, what it does. If it's, yeah, that's definitely not supposed to happen. Jesus, that's so bad. Come on, Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is awful. This should not be happening like this at all, ever. Alright, so I am slowing down the engines here. We're getting relatively close to where we are. If you pop outside the plane, you can see that I'm kind of, sort of lined up here. Need to hit the speed brakes, so we're slowly descending here. Well, actually slowing down here. Turn those off now. I also have the flaps at 1. Now the flaps are at 2. Looks... Oops. Yes, I heard your last transmission. Fighting the plane, sorry. There it is. There's Boston.
Cleared to land runway tree left WRJG9er 1 tree.
Alright, let's get lined up here. It does look like we're in relatively good shape when it comes to the altitude here, which is good. Gonna go ahead and deploy the landing gear. That way we get a little bit more drag. Give it a little bit more throttle here so we can get lined up. And we're on flaps 2. We're going to hit flaps 3 here in a second. Alright, looks like we are lined up with the runway here-ish. Close enough. And to be honest with you, because I can't see the frickin' runway because the stupid guy is so short that's flying this damn plane, we're going to try and basically just do it by ILS, so instrument landing. That's what, well, ILS stands for Instrument Landing System, so the purple bars here tell you where you're supposed to be when it comes to the relation of the actual runway here. So it does look like I'm pretty much squared up here. And it looks like I'm at the right altitude or so. Maybe a little low. There we go. Yeah, I gotta keep going a little bit more. Yeah. There we go. Just like to check. No. Come on. There we go. There we are. There it is. Alright, so safe and sound here at Logan International, I'm pretty sure is what they call Boston. So there we are. And we have made it safely.
WRJG9er 1 tree turn next taxiway.
Yes, sir. You got it. right, 134.05 for WRJG.
134.05 for WRJG 9er 1 tree.
All right, before we go any more, let's go taxiing to the gates.
WRJG 9er 1 tree taxi to the gate.
WRJG 9er 1 tree taxi to gate Charlie 28 using taxiway Quebec Cross runway 22 right Quebec Alpha.
All right.
Taxiing to gate Charlie 28 using taxiway Quebec Cross runway 22 right Quebec Alpha WRJG 9er 1 tree.
So let's get on over here. I can see that our little parking space is already lit up by that blue square over there. But if you wanted to really have the in-depth version of actually taxiing to your different areas here, you could definitely have it set up where, I'm pretty sure there's a mod for it where you have all of your, like the tablet that would display your different PDFs for the for the different airports and your taxiways and your actual, your landing and all that type of stuff. Which I have that for X-Plane, which is, again, it's fun, it's entertaining, and it gives an added sense of realism to the whole thing, which is, that's the point, right? It's a simulator. So
WRJG 9er 1 tree hold position caution other traffic.
yeah, well, technically
WRJG 9er 1 tree continue taxi.
technically I'm way bigger than you,
WRJG 9er 1
so you're supposed to stop, but that's beside the point. A van costs like 20 grand, whereas a plane costs a lot more. But what are you gonna do? Alright, here we go. Get on in here. Alright, looks like I'm relatively squared up. Looks like we're there. Boink. And there it is. That's all there is to it. It's automatically going to connect the gateway or the jetway for me because, well, I am in the right spot. And it will position it and open the door for me, which is kind of cool. It gives me the master warn that the door is on, and we will then go ahead and shut off these two engines. And that should conclude our little flight here. Should. Okay, you're gonna make a liar out of me. Okay, cool. Great. Sounds good. Thanks, Microsoft Flight Simulator. That update did a whole hell of a lot. All right, so that'll pretty much end that flight. Looks like the flight was roughly about 47 minutes from JFK to Boston, Logan International there. So wasn't too bad. We made it in pretty good time, but they did do some of the updates. I know that they were having some crash issues and stuff like that, especially with the new new sceneries that they have installed and whatnot. But again, if you are interested and want to play this game, it's definitely worth it. I enjoy it. They have a whole bunch of new activities that are around. They have some more bush trips. There's a new Alaska bush trip, which is kind of interesting, and that's fun to do. And then obviously you have all of your landing challenges, that's always fun. I absolutely love that. Love the landing challenges. Those are so much fun. But if you guys are into flying, I highly suggest getting this. It's entertaining, especially if you have the Xbox Game Pass like I do. It's pretty much free, and you get to play these fun little flights from A to B. So hopefully you guys had a little bit of fun throughout this entire little endeavor that we had here. I know that we had a couple questions. I was able to answer at least a few things for you. But if you guys have anything else, please feel free to ask me now, because I'm getting close to the end, which means I have to go do some mods. And by mods, I mean, like, we have a few. We have to get the server out to our good friend Matt, which we powder coated, and that's all done. We have to get the other server out that has been finally finished. The window is cut in it and everything like that. And then we also are working on the Star Wars build, the Battle for Hoth, which I'm aiming to complete by the end of the month at the latest. that has to go to Cerakote. So that is the plan for this afternoon, is to get the rest of that build completed and set up and squared away before the end of the week. So, but again, thanks again for everybody joining me today, this afternoon. Hopefully you guys had a little bit of fun while we flew out there. If you guys do have any questions, complaints, concerns, suggestions, whatever you got, please send it on over. Message me via Discord or Facebook or Instagram or whatever it might be. I'd be happy to talk to you and at least figure it out. And again, if you guys have any questions about water cooling, computer modding, PC stuff, parts, compatibility, anything like that, please let me know. We'd be happy to help you out in any way, shape, or form. But other than that, hopefully this was fun. Hopefully you guys had a little bit of entertainment throughout this flight, and yeah, we'll be back at it again on Friday. Hopefully it'll be cold again, it'll be snowing, and I'll be able to go snowboarding sometime soon because, well, I'm a crazy freak like that, and I like the snow. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. Again, thanks for joining me, and I will see you on Friday. Take it easy.